morning, sport lovers, and good to have you join us on today's edition of Dominion Sport. We're broadcasting live from Dominion House, Iagonku, right here in the beautiful city of Ibadan. I'm Boluwaji Ogumola. It's a beautiful Wednesday morning, and of course, we're here for the midweek edition of the show. Quite a lot to talk about on the show this beautiful morning, and as usual, I'm not the only one in the studio. Toby Lobaji joins me this beautiful morning, and together, we'll be doing justice to all of the news, making rounds in the beautiful world of sport to bring you in-depth analysis, and of course, all that you must know as far as sport is concerned. From the home front, we deal with issues concerning Shooting Stars Sport Love Ibadan. Let's take a look at the Super 8 going on in Asaba with our darling Crown FC not doing very well, but of course we'll be talking about that very much later on the show. Don't forget the FIFA Club World Cup, a big game played yesterday. Chelsea cruised into the finals of the FIFA Club World Cup, courtesy of the 2-0 victory yesterday. And of course, later today we'll have PSG take on Real Madrid. All of this and many more you start to enjoy on today's edition of the show. And don't forget to head on to YouTube. We're streaming live on Dominion Broadcast. Do subscribe, turn on the notification button, and of course, get to engage us right here on the comments. And today, we're predicting, as usual, the big game tonight, 8 p.m. It's PSG versus Real Madrid. Drop a prediction. First to get that correctly, walk away with 2,000 naira. Once again, you're welcome on board. Toby, good morning to you.
Yes, good morning to you. Top of the morning to our viewers. It's definitely good to be able to talk sport. A whole lot to definitely unpack in the world of sport, and you've already reeled it out from the domestic scene and to foreign scene. So let's roll.
Absolutely, let's roll, ladies and gentlemen. Let's kickstart from Ibadan this beautiful morning, where newly appointed Shooting Stars chairman, Honorable Taiwo Lekan Salami, has promised to reposition the club. The Oyo State government, owners of the club, announced Salami's appointment on Monday. Well, Honorable Salami takes over from Honorable Babatunde Olaniyan, popularly known as Akoro, who managed the affairs of the club for about a year. More than a year, actually, about 2 years or thereabouts. The business mogul, visited the club's club office on Tuesday. And of course, he had discussions with members of the management team and, of course, inquired about the current situation of the club. And according to him, I'm delighted to be here, and I want to assure you that there will be massive changes at the club, both within the office and on the field of play. Well, for Shooting Stars, they finished ninth on the MPFL table at, of course, they just concluded MPFL season. Now, Honorable Taiwo Salami is here now and is saying he's ready to go on. Now, the big question I was asking Toluwani yesterday was that, will he remain with this management team we are seeing on the screen?
Well, I think it's definitely a new face with the Oluyole Warriors right now, and incidentally, they even have a friendly game today in Ijebu. They spoke with the media officer a moment ago, said they'll be playing against Grassrunners Football Club. But I think for Shooting Stars and everything that they have achieved so far, I think maybe the government thought, okay, it's time to more or less take it a step further. Because in my own opinion, I think the board under Babatunde Olaniyan Akoro, I think they were able to stabilize the team. In the past, Shooting Stars, they were known as...
Made the team better.
Exactly. Yes. Shooting Stars, they were more or less relegation battlers in the past. But I think within the last 2 seasons,
they've had hopes.
They've had hopes. They are knocking on the doors of the continent.
At some point last season, the championship.
Exactly. So maybe at some point, incidentally, somebody who is also the son of one of the early founders of the club in Lekan Salami, Honorable Chief Taiwo Lekan Salami, maybe he will bring his business expertise, and he also said he's a sport administrator to also more or less bring his expertise and stabilize the Oluyole Warriors. Just as I was speaking with a friend yesterday, his first moves will let us know what Shooting Stars will look like in the immediate and in the distant future.
If you had to advise him at this point, would you ask him to keep the current management team headed by Dimeji Lawal and also the technical crew, or make changes as well? Since there's a change at the top, I don't think it's necessary to also make changes down there as well.
Well, at this point right now, it will be very, very. I think he needs to make calculated decisions right now, because right now, the team has begun pre-season already, as headed by the technical team, that is Coach Gbenga Ogumbote. If he more or less sends Gbenga Ogumbote away from his present role, incidentally, he has a year left on his contract. You have to pay pay him off to more or less
and it might
terminate
also
that
disrupt
contract.
the flow.
It will
of
disrupt
the team.
a flow of everything. Dimeji Lawal, who is the general manager, and also similar to what we have in other climes, the sporting director. Let's just say for this discussion, the sporting director. So it will more
because he runs the day-to-day
exactly.
affairs of the club.
It can affect the flow. So I only feel what the chairman can do, who can also call the club president right now, is to more or less give them a mandate now. See what they will do in the first half of the season before you might take a decision of either letting the technical guys go or even Dimeji Lawal leave at this point, because I feel it might be very, very dicey to just let them go off like that. But I think congratulations to him, and just as I said, the early steps of Chief Taiwo Lekan Salami will let us know what the path 3SC will definitely tread in the nearest future.
So I've had a lot of thoughts from several quarters since the appointment to say, is this a step further or step backward for Shooting Stars?
Well,
going by the pedigree of Honorable Babatunde Olaniyan and what we have in Honorable Taiwo.
Well, truth be told, a whole lot of individuals, they were disappointed with the Shooting Stars, how the last season unfolded. And you know, sometimes when things like this occur, it's always the number one man that will always take the fall, just the same way he will take the glory if the team is doing well. And they felt, okay, maybe he could have leveraged on his past experiences. Remember, Babatunde Olaniyan Akoro is a former FIFA badged referee, and people thought, oh, some atrocious officiating which Shooting Stars suffered away and even at home, it shouldn't have happened. So and bringing somebody who is the son of
but what do you think? The Shooting Stars at all benefited from the experience of Honorable Olaniyan?
In my opinion, I do not think so.
Because if you think, because what we were saying earlier was that there was an upward trajectory when he came on board.
Exactly.
You know, which means he did something different.
Yes, yeah, definitely. Of course.
Because you also look at the ability to attract top coaches and top players.
No doubt about that.
And that's something that Honorable Olaniyan would do.
No doubt about
that. Thus, Taiwo Salami has according to the language now, the aura to attract top coaches, top players into the league.
Well, people are saying maybe people are saying maybe that name Lekan Salami itself.
Oh, could do the magic.
Exactly, could do the magic. Remember,
I like that.
Even the home ground of Shooting Stars is known as the Lekan Salami Stadium. And incidentally, people are saying maybe that name itself, which is more or less like a legend around that club, can also pull some strings.
Absolutely.
More reason why I said the first steps which the chairman will do in the early days will let us know how Shooting Stars will fare moving forward. All
right, even as we welcome Honorable Taiwo Lekan Salami to the club, we must give kudos to this man on your screen. That's Honorable Babatunde David Olaniyan Akoro, who spent 1,228 days in office as the executive chairman of Shooting Stars. Of course, spent 3 years and 133 days from the 25th of February 2022 to the 7th of July 2025. Well, big congratulations to Honorable Babatunde Olaniyan right there. Your message for the new chairman?
Yes, definitely wishing them all the best. Shooting Stars is not just the pride of Oyo State Legends, perhaps across the Southwest and even Africa. And I'll be hoping that Shooting Stars will definitely bounce back to those glorious days which we've known them for.
All right, let's move on this morning from Ibadan to Kano. Yes, the news is that Ahmed Musa, the newly appointed general manager of Kano Pillars, will continue playing for the club. That's Kano Pillars, despite his current status as the general manager of the club. Ahmed Musa was appointed general manager of the four-time NPFL champions last weekend. On the former Leicester City player officially, of course, stepped into his role on Monday. And just yesterday, he got on the pitch and trained with the boys. The 32-year-old is, however, not ready to quit the game just yet, as he will lead the team's attack next season. Musa trained with the squad yesterday at the Sonny Abacha Stadium. And of course, the same executive are yet to appoint a technical advisor at this moment following the exit of Usman Abdullah. Well, Toby, here you have it. I think you were not here yesterday. Toluwani were discussing and saying, is this man ready to remain in Kano? That's one. Because if he wants to go back to Europe or to Saudi Arabia, how will he combine the two roles? But now we are hearing that he will even lead the attack. He will still be playing and still be running things from the office.
Well, one good thing is that it will definitely increase the clout, because Kano Pillars already has clout in the league. So imagine the general manager taking onto the field of play, even in the magnitude of Ahmed Musa, who is not just a legend to Kano State, is also a Nigerian legend. If we can say that.
He's still the Super Eagles captain.
Of course, he has not retired from the Super Eagles. So I think he's backing Kano Pillars on the field of play and even off the field of play, which I feel definitely it's big business for them, because the truth is that imagine you saying, Kano Pillars coming. Of course, we even know what it feels like anytime Kano Pillars comes to Ibadan when they play against Shooting Stars, for example. We know what Sabo looks like, and now imagine him now in the shoes of the general manager, still playing. Definitely, I feel it's a right step in the right direction. Though we know this might not continue for long, because as I like to say, if you don't leave football, football will leave you at some point. However, let him release the moment of playing on the field and also doing the boardroom duties. Maybe the boardroom politics too might also come in at some point. But I feel it's also a breath of fresh air for Kano Pillars, because he's bringing a whole lot of experience playing across different parts of the world,
but not from the boardroom.
Exactly. So definitely.
Well, there are two different ball games.
Of course, there are two different ball games, and I feel he would also learn on the job. When I say learn on the job, learn what it feels like an administrative role. We've seen what Kano or what he has faced when he was thrust into that role. But for him, he will still be able to do what he knows how to do, but that is playing on the field of play, and even learn the ropes right there. And irrespective of what happens, I'm sure Kano Pillars will cut him some slack, because the truth is that some things might be alien to him. Of course, handling papers, doing a whole lot of things, but
he has secretaries.
Of course, which will cover a whole lot of that. But one thing I know he will definitely do is he will definitely bring a whole lot of, he should bring a whole lot of sponsorship to Kano Pillars.
Have you thought of what the training ground will look like?
Of course.
With a technical advisor, directing his general manager to do this and do that, even on the pitch of play.
Well,
how weird that sounds.
Of course, that might sound weird, but I'm sure having players of this magnitude, I'm sure even for Ahmed Musa is a core professional. You know when you are on the field of play, you guys are equal at that point, and you more or less receive instructions.
Subordinate to
of course, to the coach right there, and you always follow the coach's instructions. And I don't know if he still has the legs to consistently play 90 minutes. So irrespective of what happens, he still has to get instructions from the coach. And I'm sure if he's also showing that humility on the field of play, he will also be leading by example to the rest of the 11 players on the pitch and even on the bench. So I feel it's a win-win for Kano Pillars, and for his nature. Ahmed Musa is not somebody that cuts controversy, so I'm sure that
not so much controversy, exactly. But of course, when it comes to polygamy, I think he does that a lot. All right, so beloved, we'll be expecting a whole lot from Kano Pillars, and of course, Ahmed Musa even has the steps into this new role. And one thing I love about this appointment is the fact that he's getting all the support, especially from his Super Eagles teammates, especially Shehu Abdullahi, who was also there on Monday to welcome him to the dressing room. So he's still teammate with Shehu Abdullahi on the pitch,
of course,
and of course in the office as well.
Definitely,
I'm sure that Shehu Abdullahi will have one or two roles to perform and to assist him with. Well, let's move away from Kano this beautiful morning and take a couple of other stories making round in the world of sport. And this time around, we're talking about Nigeria National League. Well, the big question is, which 4 clubs will pick the ticket to the NPFL? Well, as 2025 NNL Super 8 playoffs head into the final match day, well, the race for promotion to the NPFL is, I must tell you, wide open at this point. Now, with 2 promotion spots available in each group, all 8 teams remain in contention, while setting the stage for a thrilling conclusion. Group A has Yobe Desa Stars leading the pack for them, but the battle remains very fierce, I must say. Group B, all 4 teams still in the mix on the final day. Toby, let's take a look at what you have on our screens right now. and take a look at the permutation ahead of the final round of games tomorrow. Yes, Yobedesa Stars versus, of course, well, basically, versus everybody in that group, because
definitely
they all stand a chance.
Definitely. It's still open sesame for all of them to more or less pick the ticket, but you would say the Yobe Desert Stars, they have more or less a head start over the remainder of the 3 clubs in Group A. That is Barao Football Club, Wiki Tourists of Bauchi, and even Adoma United from Gombe State. Right there, after all 4 sides played draws in their openers. Right there, but for Yobe Desert Stars, their 2-1 victory over Doma United saw them leapfrog the rest of the pack, and Barao FC continued that draw spree with that goalless encounter with Wiki Torres. So going into the last match day, I'm sure it will be the likes of Barao Football Club, Wiki Torres, and even Doma United hoping that things will go in their favor. You could also say it's almost similar to what you have in Group B.
Yeah. Before we even go to that Group B, let's take a look at Yobe Desert Stars. Well, their destiny is in their hands, just like you mentioned earlier. Destiny is in hand. Win or draw against Doma United, I mean, they are guaranteed a place. Yeah.
Yes, definitely.
Win or draw in their last game, they are guaranteed a place. Very important for them. So you leave the rest to battle things out.
Exactly. It's the remaining 3 that will be hoping that things go in their favor. And I hope these games will be played simultaneously.
Yes.
But I don't know if the Stephen Keshi Stadium has facilities for them to play.
No, there is another pitch.
Okay.
Which I saw yesterday, waterlogged.
Exactly, because
did you see that?
Yes, yes, exactly. Just because we are still speaking about Group A, in Group B, the last game which Crown FC played, I saw that game. The pitch was almost looking like where horses had run on, and it's terrible. And just as I said, let's hope that the pitch would have it definitely won't be in pristine form, but at least will be decent enough for us to have a proper game of football.
Let's talk about Group B, where we have Crown FC of Ogbomosho, rooted bottom at this point, following their draw against Osun United. 1 point is what they have. They're rooted bottom, like I mentioned, but then they have a huge task in their final game against Warrior Wolves. Toby, Warrior Wolves, they didn't find it funny during the regular season. Warrior Wolves. Exactly. Warriors even finished ahead of them in the regular season.
Warriors, they were the best team in the regular season.
Absolutely, best team, no doubt about it. I mean, dominated proceedings everywhere, left, right, and center. But then we have Osun United taking on Kun Khalifa. Warriors versus Crown FC.
Yes, for
Crown FC must win.
They must win, and not just win. They must also have a buffer of goals, such that that negative goal difference must at least change. At least
because they have -1 goal difference.
Exactly. At least a +2, a +3, a +2, a +3 goal difference would do them a whole lot of good, and that means they must win at least maybe 3 or 4 goals to nil against Warri Wolves. And I
also hope that. Osun United versus Kun Khalifa go their way.
Exactly. They must hope that Osun United must beat Kun Khalifa for them. So it means.
I mean, you just said it.
Exactly.
They win against Warri Wolves, win well, and hope that Osun United beats Kun Khalifa.
Exactly, which is mathematically on paper, Osun United can defeat Kun Khalifa, but
even if they don't win well, now even if Crowns don't win well, it won't know when we'll do. So far, Osun United gets to win. Osun United from Osun State. We are brothers at this point. Don't forget, the old Oyo states were together. Guys, you need to do this for the Lord.
Well, I really hope they do. I really hope Osun United does this favor for Crown FC. I saw the second half of the match day 2 of Crown Football Club versus Osun United, and when the game was, it was literally in the dying stages of at that time when they considered that penalty. I mean, when Crown FC considered a penalty, which Osun United ultimately drew that game with, and it was hard done because, in fact, Osun United, they were 1 man down because they had the player sent off, but they still, should I say, is inexperienced, because at that point you shouldn't have allowed the attacker from Osun United to just run into the box and just hit the ball on the arm. On that. But it is what it is. Football. We saw videos of them apologizing to the fan base back home, saying that they would definitely try and.
I was listening to them apologizing in Yoruba, in Hausa. I was like, come on now, we need you to do that on the pitch of play.
Exactly. So, well, we hope they do the needful against Warri goals, but it will definitely not be easy.
So all of this happening Thursday and Friday, and of course trust us, tomorrow when we get here we'll definitely talk about that and many more. Let's leave club football and talk about our national team. This time around, let's talk about the Flying Eagles of Nigeria. Yes, they are right now in Ghana as we speak, getting for the WAFU Under-20 opener. Of course, they're called the Flying Eagles, so they are Nigeria's Under-20 national team. They've arrived in Ghana out of the WAFU Zone A and B Under-20 Championship, which is set to take off on Thursday, that's tomorrow. The team, of course, touched down Accra yesterday. Yesterday in the afternoon, I guess, following a 1-hour flight from the Murtala Mohammed International Airport. The Flying Eagles are drawn in Group A alongside host nation, that's Ghana and Benin Republic. Group B features Cote d'Ivoire, Burkina Faso, Niger Republic, and Togo. At least the British side will begin their campaign with a high-stakes encounter against Ghana on Thursday, that's tomorrow, before facing the Republic 3 days later, and of course on Sunday, that's the 13th of July. The top 2 teams from each group would advance to the semi-finals of the regional youth competition, now which serves as a key platform for scouting emerging talent in West Africa. Toby, our boys are here already. One thing I love about this particular competition put together by WAFU is that it's an opportunity for us to prepare the team, get the team ready for Chile later this year.
Yes, definitely.
The Under-20 World Cup.
Yes, the only underaged men's football competition which Nigeria hasn't won. We've won the Under-17, Under-20. We've knocked twice on the door. And Ali Zubeiru, who has also got, he went on a coaching course from last year, I think completed it this year. We hope to see his input on the boys, because one thing that I feel the boys struggle with at the Under-20 African Cup of Nations, that was in the month of May. Yes, was the goal scoring was a problem for them, and at this point, this is an invitational tournament. Absolutely. You can experiment, you have the chance. Whilst we know that, okay, they say a trophy to be won, I also feel he should more or less try various tactics and more or less make the attack razor sharp. Absolutely. Because once the Under-20 World Cup starts later in the month of September, the margin for error will be very little, and you just need to hit the ground running. And yes, come July 10th, that is tomorrow, we'll see what the boys would give us to display. Against
Ghana, of course, when we talk about Under-20 competition, I mean, you want to argue that Ghana has had a better outing than us.
Of course, they won the World Cup, so they have a bragging right over us.
Exactly, over us. So our boys need to be ready for this one, and of course ready to do Nigerians proud. Well, not really, but most importantly, to get our tactics right. From there, let's talk about the Chan Eagles this beautiful morning. The Super Eagles camp, of course, is swelling. In fact, at the moment, 5 additional players have joined the home-based Super Eagles camp in Ikenne, Ogun State, as preparations continue for the 2025 Africa Nations Championship, which will be co-hosted by Kenya, Uganda, and Tanzania. It's an East Africa affair. The team's media officer, Promise Efohe, confirmed the new arrivals on Tuesday. The players include Musa Zayad from El Academy Warriors, Aminu Adam from Kano Pillars, and Ashisu from Nasarawa United, Gordon Obaje of Rivers United, Kabiru Mohammed of Kwara United. Of course, their inclusion brings the total number of players in camp to 26. Efohe also reported that all 26 players took part in yesterday's training session, which was overseen by head coach Eric Shell. Now, the home-based Super Eagles is an intensive training as they aim to secure a strong outing at the regional tournament. Well, which showcases talent from domestic leagues across Africa, rather. Nigeria secured qualification for this CHAN after edging out our eternal rivals, Ghana, and in a return to the tournament following 3 consecutive absence. And don't forget, Nigeria withdrawn in Group D, of course, and we will face Congo, Senegal, and Sudan. Our opening game is against Senegal on the 5th of August. The 2025 CHAN tournament, of course, jointly hosted by the 3 big East African countries, will kick off on the 2nd of August. Well, CHAN is here again. Finally, after missing the competition for like 3 years, we are back and we are hoping to make a very good impression this time around.
Yes, we are hoping to make a big impression, but I won't deny that we have been thrown in a group of death. Congo, Senegal, they are defending champions, and for us, we'll be playing our opening game against Senegal. So it's like a baptism of fire for the boys.
Yeah, it is. But at times I love it when you start with the toughest opponent in the competition, because it helps you to grow into that competition.
No doubt about that. And also, it's still a group phase. So even if there are slip-ups, you'll be able to learn from that. So and for Daniel Ogumode, Fidelis Elechukwu, and right now we'll be having Eric Shell joining them in camp right now. I hope the three of them will give us what we deserve, because I don't think we've won the CHAN before. The closest we've had podium finishes, even when we had the late Stephen Keshi in charge of the Super Eagles, whilst I'm not necessarily brimming with a whole lot of confidence, I will be managing. I'll be telling several Nigerians watching us this morning, just manage your expectations.
Talking about managing your expectation and not being confident enough. I mean that is throwing dark shades on our league. Well, these are players that will watch week in, week out Nigerian league. So I'm saying they got up shoulders with their mates.
Well, but the truth is that we've seen Nigerian clubs play at the CAF Champions League, the CAF Confederations Cup. We see how we even struggle to even make it to the group stages of the competition. We need that consistency in a league. We need that level of competition. We need to also, and this word too, we need to produce the true champions of the league, and also retain some of these players, because most of the times, and I feel what is also affecting us is that once players, once they hit that, should I say, that purple patch, they always want to run off, go to obscure leagues, go to Iraq, go to Vietnam, and
all. Do you blame them?
I do not blame them. So, but if there's a way we could retain them, have that consistency of playing like 2-3 seasons in a club.
That has been Nigeria's greatest honor.
Exactly. At some point, maybe it is the CHAN that is making Anas Yusuf still stay back. After the CHAN, I want to see if Anas Yusuf will still want to stay and play in the NPFL, because most of the time, when you look at the league, our highest goal scorers, most of the time, they leave almost immediately. But if we can find a way of having that, the best legs play in the league, I'm sure it will translate to this
to success in CHAN.
Exactly.
Toby, but it's a whole lot of work. It's a lot has to be put in place to achieve the work.
Of course, the economics of it too.
Economics of it. I think that's basically the problem.
Exactly.
Right? When we have a very good financial package for all those players, I mean, that will encourage them to remain in the league.
Of course, because I struggle to understand why players will leave the NPFL and go to Sudan. Remember, Ojolon Oleke at some point left Imba, played in Sudan. We hear players leaving the league, going to Iraq.
Have you forgotten those years when we qualified for CHAN and the players you're relying on to go to Magic there?
Of course, exactly, and to be a totally different squad prosecuting the tournament. So it just shows you that is more reason why you see some countries like Senegal, the North Africans will be dominating some of these.
Because they keep their players.
Exactly, they keep, even if players even leave clubs, it is still within the country, and they can still
within the region.
Exactly, so they can still call them. They can still call them, and they'll have decent performances at tournaments like this.
Yeah, it is what it is. We hope that things get better in this country and encourage our big names in the league to remain in the club so that we can achieve the success we deserve when it comes to CHAN competition. Of course, starts next month rather, and we'll definitely be bringing you all of the news that you can use from that particular competition. From the Flying Eagles, from the CHAN Eagles, Super Eagles B team, let's talk about the big girls, the Super Falcons of Nigeria, where their head coach, Justin Madugu, has defended his squad selection following Nigeria's comprehensive victory over Tunisia, 3-0. That game ended in their opening group match. Madugu, had faced criticism over the inclusion of certain players and the omission of certain players from his final squad list, but insists that every player in the team is there on merit. According to him, every player here is important and deserves to be part of this squad. Madugu said that, of course, he's just only trying to promote unity and ensure that no one feels more important than the other. He emphasized that the team, selection is based on performance and form, saying that everyone here, of course, has an equal opportunity to play. Now, those who perform well will keep their place. If someone falls short, we have the option to make changes in order to keep improving. End of quote. All right, talking about that, Let's take a look at how far our girls have done so far. All right, in this competition, impressive victory they had. Let's see. We've had a lot of games already. Let's see what the WAFCON looks like at this moment. We have a game tomorrow at 8 p.m. tomorrow. Don't forget, we'll back talk about that one. But let's take a look at what, after one round of games in the group already, let's take a look at Group A, what the Group A looks like at this point. Of course, Senegal, expectedly. They are top in the pack. But Morocco, quite a bit disappointing, right?
Well, you could say that, but remember, they came up against a strong Zambian side led by Barbara Banda. And the Zambians, they could have run away with victory in that game. But deep in the game, they got they got that goal to more or less tie that game. So I would say it's understandable. And the Teranga Lionesses, yes.
It's a difficult group.
It's a difficult group, no doubt about that. DR Congo, too, they are no pushover, too. But Senegal, they got a 4-0 victory over them. So I would say that scoreline might be flattering, but I think this group is still not done yet.
Not done yet.
It's not done yet. The second round of games and even the third round of group games would definitely, I feel it is on the third match day, that is when this group will be decided. So I'm still not surprised with what Group A is serving us right there at the WAFCON.
Of course, it promises more entertainment in the second round and, of course, third round. Let's take a look at Group B, where we have the Super Falcons of Nigeria. Of course, we have, as you can see, we're on top. We're on top. 3 points. Plus 3 goals. That's why we are top in the group. Algeria second, Botswana, of course, no point. Tunisia, no point as well. And of course, our next game is against Botswana. I mean, I'm not really expecting any issue here, honestly, for Nigeria. We should pick the maximum point and score good goals. Number of goals.
Well, yes, no doubt about that. We should score good goals. But I'm also sure Botswana too would also want to play for pride because Nigeria defeating Botswana is not news, but
of course,
if Botswana even gets a draw against the Super Falcons, of course it makes the headline. So just as Mary Akishola said on Monday when we were speaking with her, he said they would respect their opponents, and I hope that there will be no complacency from the Nigerian girls.
Exactly, and there you have the current standings in Group B. Let's take a look at Group C, where South Africa are currently leading the pack, followed by Mali, Tanzania, and Ghana. Looks like another difficult group, honestly.
Yeah, it looks like another difficult group, and surprise, surprise, it is the Black Queens of Ghana are bottom of the group. But just as I said, it's just one game has been played so far. Second game, a whole lot can change, but I think not surprise is Bayana are topping Group A after our first game, and exactly, and with Mali in second place, and even Tanzania in third place, right there. So just as I said, a whole lot can change from the second game, and I'm sure sides that have lost, just like Ghana, which you're speaking about, they'll be hoping for a positive game come their second match. And yes, second and third games will definitely serve as interesting fixtures.
Absolutely. Let's take a look at the fixtures going forward in the competition. There you have it on your screen. Interesting games to look forward to. Going back to Group A, to be, I mean, a lot of interesting games to look forward to.
Yes, definitely.
The second round fixtures.
Yes, sir.
Which of them is your pick, honestly? Aside the Nigerian Botswana game.
Yes, I think the game
Zambia-Senegal.
Yes, Zambia-Senegal definitely will be an interesting matchup, right? The Barbara Banda.
And that's today, 5 p.m.
Yes, exactly. Today's game, I was reading the match. I was reading the preview on CAF's website, and yes, they were serving us a very interesting start. Even the host Morocco coming up against DR Congo. Yes, would also want to more or less register their first victory after that draw with Zambia in their opener. So I'll be backing Morocco to get a victory over DR Congo. Maybe 3-0. Well, I don't know. Something is telling me the game between Zambia and Senegal might end in a draw.
Might end in a draw. I will be back tomorrow to take a look at the Group B fixtures. You can see on the screen: Tunisia, Algeria, of course, Botswana and Nigeria. That's tomorrow. And of course, day after, we'll have the Group C matches to talk about. All right, let's leave the Falcons, even as we wish them all the best, and talk about our under-19 women's basketball team who left Abuja for Czech Republic yesterday to compete in the FIBA Under-19 Women's Basketball World Cup. And after weeks of intensive training at the MK Abiola Stadium, the team is set to begin their campaign against China on the 12th of this month. The tournament tips off on the 12th, that same day, in Czech Republic, with Nigeria placed in Group C alongside China, Canada, and Portugal. The team will open their campaign against China on the opening day after the 16 teams were divided into 4 groups of 4 each. Now, all 16 teams participating in the event will advance to the competition's final phase with a single elimination format in place. We'll back to talk about all of those ones, but let's talk about our girls, the young. They've been training for a while, and it's time to showcase what you have been, training.
Exactly. This is where it matters most. And after the girls were finally able to more or less get their visas to Czechia or Czech Republic, as the case might be. Nigeria, I think basketball has been also one sport that has been gathering its own cult following after football.
Yes.
And
but unfortunately, the league has not been
the federation,
and our national teams have been suffering.
Exactly.
We've been relying on our players playing abroad to give us good representation.
More, it's a reflection of sport administration generally, and I think it has been a carryover from what has been happening from the previous administration during when we still had the erstwhile sport ministry from John Onwa-Eno to even Sunday Dare during the time of Musa Kida, when there were a whole lot of shall I say a whole lot of controversies. Exactly. But the sports keeps going on, but at the cost of talent. But good thing that we still have a few of these athletes by the skin of their teeth, still trying to make themselves proud, make the country proud ultimately, and
put their name out there for the big leagues.
Exactly, put their name. Of course, that's the ultimate thing, because of course, basketball, you can easily get scholarships and make a name for it. And at the under-19 level, of course, they are selling themselves out right there. So not necessarily, the main aim might not be to win, but at least to more or less hone their skills ahead of their senior careers, which will be starting very, very soon. So I wish the team all the best right there in the Czech Republic.
All right, wish the team all the very best. Let's move straight to the world of tennis, talking Wimbledon SW19, and talk about the biggest news yesterday, as two-time defending champion Carlos Alcaraz produced a Wimbledon masterclass to end the run of Cameron Norrie and move into the semi-finals, once again. Now, second seed Alcaraz underlined why he is the tournament's favorite with a scintillating 6-2, 6-3, 6-3 win yesterday. The Spaniard will face Taylor Fritz, the American fifth seed, bidding for a first major title in the last 4. Fritz has secured his place in the semifinals for the first time with a 6-3, 6-4, 1-6, 6-7, 7-6 victory over Russian's Karen Khachanov. Let's take a look at the screen and see some of the other results of Fritz there, Toby, with a very good result for him against Khachanov. Interesting result. And of course, for the ladies, Aryna Sabalenka proved to be one of the top rated tennis stars in the world with that victory. Although she came from behind, but then she secured the victory.
Yeah, she secured the victory over Lara Sigmund. I'm sure Lara Sigmund might have been dreaming that maybe she might have had the chance after winning that 6-4, but we saw Sabalenka snatching it in two.
Talk about the experience.
Exactly, getting it and doing it when it mattered most right there. And even for Anisimova, Anisimova right there to also getting the victory. The game had to go to a tiebreaker in the second set, and 7-6 for the American right there. So very, very interesting games so far.
Quarterfinal games so far at the Wimbledon, and of course we have a couple of semi-final pairings already. Yes, like I mentioned earlier, Carlos Alcaraz will take on Taylor Fritz. Promises to be a very interesting encounter.
Yes, definitely promises a big encounter right there. Just as I said, I'll be hoping that Carlos Alcaraz will not go through the hard way, win this game in straight set. There's no need making it a 4-setter or a 5-setter. Win it in straight 3 sets. But Taylor Fritz, the 5th seed, will also come with his own challenge right there. And hoping to win his maiden Grand Slam title, but doing it against the 2nd seed, world number 2, right there on the grass court, would definitely not come easy
at all.
I'll still be tipping the young Spaniard to get the victory in this one.
And of course, we have the other semi-final pairing in the female category. Aryna Sabalenka taking on Amanda Anisimova as well. All right, some quarterfinal games will still be played here. Novak is in action today. Toby, we're looking forward to that. Koboli, he's facing Shouldn't be troubles for Novak.
Yeah, it shouldn't be troubles for Novak. Though he almost struggled in his last game when he was watched by Roger Federer in that one, but he was able to more or less face his demons and even get that victory.
Yes,
and later today, he would also be hoping to more or less continue in that form right there. Well, his legs might be giving way for him, but I still see him going over the line in this fixture.
Jannik Sinner, top seed, is in action today against Ben Shelton as well.
Yes.
Interesting quarterfinals also.
Yes, interesting quarterfinals after Grigor Dimitrov retiring in his game with Jannik Sinner right there. Ben Shelton shouldn't be much of a problem for Jannik Sinner, so Jannik Sinner for the victory.
Well, Iga is also in action today, as well as Belinda Bencic versus Mira Andreeva. All right, back to the world of football, where let's talk about some Nigerian players. They've been in the news for the good reasons as far as transfer is concerned. Ola Oluwaina, has said that he is delighted to sign a contract extension with his Premier League club, Nottingham Forest. Well, the club announced yesterday that a Nigerian international defender has penned a 3-year contract that will see him remain at the City ground until 2028. Ola Oluwaina scored twice and registered 1 assist to help his side finish 7th last season. The 28-year-old was deployed mainly as a right back for the majority of that campaign. The defender won one Player of the Month award, also claimed a Goal of the Month prize as well. I mean, Ola Oluwaina here, honestly, I was expecting him to, keep to probably move to a bigger club.
Yes,
I was hoping he would move to City, honestly.
Yeah, some of us thought he would move. However, he might also look at his chances of if he goes to a Manchester City. What are the chances that he would walk into the starting 11?
He's hardworking.
Yes, he's hardworking. Exactly.
He's a goal-scoring defender.
You must also add, he's also very funny also too.
Yeah,
exactly. And for line, I think it's.
But I'm not sure that all that will work for Pep.
Of course, definitely, definitely. But I feel it's also hard work for what he has done with Nottingham, rewarding him with that contract extension right there. Definitely, it will be great to see him continue that impressive form that he has had from last season. Though I would not call what he did last season a fluke, because when he was at Torino in the Italian Serie A, we saw him. That was able to price himself back to Manchester City and even do a whole lot for himself. Right there. So I'll be hoping that he definitely continues and even earns the respect more right there at Nottingham Forest.
Absolutely. Let's talk about another Nigerian's winning news. His name is Victor Osimhen. We understand that he has informed Napoli to get the deal sealed with Galatasaray regarding his permanent transfer to the Turkish champions. Well, this was disclosed by football transfer expert Fabrizio Romano in a post he made yesterday. Well, according to that post, Romano says Victor Osimhen has informed Napoli of his desire to get deal sealed with Galatasaray as soon as possible. Galatasaray will pay €75 million as release clause value, but negotiating payment terms in 5 years as exclusively reviewed. Contract ready since Sunday until June 2028, plus options, several other options. Of course, this is coming after Osimhen agreed a 3-year deal plus 1-year option with Galatasaray to join the club on a permanent deal. Just last weekend, Romano ruled out the possibility of Osimhen joining Manchester United. And according to him, Juventus, Al Hilal, and Galatasaray were the only clubs, battling to sign the Nigerian. It looks like Victor wants to remain at the club. Going by what Romano just said,
at this point,
is it a good move for him at this point in his career?
At this point, I feel he's still playing in Europe, even though some people call Turkey the gateway to Asia. But
absolutely, I totally agree with that.
But at least he's still playing in Europe. We still tend to see, we'll still see him. The level of competition is still there, and one thing is certain: he's loved right there. We saw how he's been worshipped. We saw how he's been worshipped right there. And stay where you are loved. Absolutely. The work environment there is not toxic, unlike what he had to face in Italy before he more or less forced that move on loan right there. So let him stay there. He has the followership there. Turkish fans can be very, they love their football idols over there. And it seems Osimhen has become a football idol in Turkey.
Magic for them.
Exactly. did it so far. So let him stay where
They
he's
would
loved.
definitely break the bank to keep him.
Of course,
and
so-
that was what he just did.
Exactly.
75 million euros for a Turkish club.
So
that's a big deal.
exactly, it is a big deal, and I think he's more or less at his peak right now. So let him spend his peak in a place where he's loved.
Honestly, yeah, but then you don't see him rub shoulder with the big boys.
Well,
see him at
of
City,
course.
at Real Madrid, at Barcelona.
Well,
you
UEFA
know.
competitions might still afford him to definitely do that. The UEFA Europa League or maybe the Champions League if they still get to play in the Champions
It
League.
is what it is, but we know where we want to see our boys. Yes, one season with Galatasaray is not magic with them. Expecting him to just move on, Let's move on to greater things. Well, then we'll manage Galatasaray. Let's move on this beautiful morning. Don't mind me. I'll talk about the FIFA Club World Cup. Yesterday, João Pedro, well, he did the magic for Chelsea yesterday. He scored a stunning brace as Chelsea defeated Fluminense 2-0 in the first semi-final of the FIFA Club World Cup this year. Of course, the game was played yesterday. Blues boss Enzo Maresca gave Pedro his first start for the club, of course, following his arrival from Brighton this summer. The Brazilian repaid Maresca's fate, a goal in each half against his boyhood club. Fluminense thought they had a chance to pull one back, but after the referee was awarded, had awarded a penalty against Trevor Chalobah, he was advised to consult the VAR pitchside monitor, where he eventually overturned the decision. Chelsea will now take on either Paris Saint-Germain or Real Madrid in the final of this year's FIFA Club World Cup. The Premier League team will be looking to add to their UEFA Conference League trophy that they won last month. Toby, here you have it. 2-0 for Chelsea. Good one for your Pedro. And you keep dealing with your boyhood club and you keep apologizing. Come on now.
Well, no doubt about that. I'm sure it was a debut to remember for him, and yes, scoring 2 beautiful goals against Fluminense. I'm sure Chelsea fans they might start dreaming of maybe lifting the FIFA Club World Cup because personally I didn't see them getting a rather easy victory over a Fluminense side that has more or less had.
Difficult.
Exactly, we thought they had one of the best defenses going into this game. That is Fluminense.
So because of our time, let me quickly inform Chelsea fans that following their their triumph yesterday, now that they're in the finals, they've earned about £80 million.
That's cool money.
Getting to the finals already, and they'll be adding £40 million should they win the final later on Sunday. But then there's a small matter of Real Madrid and PSG tonight. So don't forget, drop your predictions in the comments, and of course, get that correctly. You'll walk away with 2,000 naira. Toby, you're quick in just 30 seconds.
Real Madrid 3-1 over PSG.
3-1 over PSG. So I'll just go with a 2-1 over Paris and Germain. Well, that's the size of the show this beautiful morning. Big thanks to you, Toby, for being a part of
Yes,
the
always
show.
a pleasure to be here.
It's a nice time hanging out with you. And of course, don't forget to follow us, of course, on Facebook, on Instagram at Dominion Broadcaster Television. And of course, on YouTube, do subscribe. And of course, share this link, tell a friend about us. Do turn on the notification bell as well to enjoy all our programs on Dominion Television. Or we shall return later tomorrow. Till then, do have a lovely day and stay safe.